The moment R-Truth stepped through the curtain and walked back into a WWE ring, it didn't feel like just another segment. It didn't feel like a nostalgia pop. It felt like a course correction. That eruption of the crowd wasn't out of courtesy. It was a roar of rebellion from fans who've watched WWE sideline one of the most charismatic and genuine performers of the last 2 decades. Truth didn't return with a title shot, a WrestleMania storyline, or even a heavily promoted comeback. He just appeared, and everything changed. No pyro, no build-up packages, just one man stepping into his element and turning the energy of the arena upside down. WWE didn't expect the wave that followed. They didn't plan for it, but they had no choice but to ride it. Truth didn't come back with some overproduced storyline. He came back with pure authenticity, and in a world of scripted drama and corporate booking, that was like a thunderclap. It reminded everyone why fans still chant his name years after he's gone silent. And right around this early return, something unexpected happened. New fans, those who didn't grow up watching Truth, started flooding forums, comment sections, and social feeds asking the same thing. How has this guy not been a main eventer? If you're new here and love real wrestling stories that WWE tries to hide, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This wasn't some push. WWE had no immediate plans to feature him prominently. In fact, internal sources reported that his return was meant to be light, mostly comedic relief, maybe a couple of tag matches, nothing long-term. But the response derailed all of that. What was supposed to be a soft re-entry exploded into something the creative team wasn't prepared to handle. Every week he came out, he delivered unscripted moments that cracked through the overly polished tone of Raw and SmackDown. His segments weren't just fun, they became the most talked about part of the show. WWE's social media numbers confirmed it. Every clip involving R-Truth started outperforming even title matches in engagement. He wasn't supposed to trend, but he did. He wasn't supposed to headline, but the crowd treated him like one. And backstage, this caused confusion. WWE didn't know whether to write around him or keep him unpredictable. So for a while, they did both. And that's where the real tension began. Because while the fans were riding high on Truth's momentum, the company hesitated. His involvement with Judgment Day was vague and directionless. Sometimes he was involved, sometimes not. Sometimes aligned, sometimes forgotten. The creative team kept pulling him in and out of stories like they were scared to commit. But that's what made the story even more gripping. Truth didn't need WWE's protection. He needed their trust. And they couldn't give it. Maybe they thought he was too old to run long-term. Maybe they worried about the unpredictability of his style. But whatever the reason, they made the same mistake they've made before, underestimating a talent because he didn't fit the mold. And here's the deeper issue. R-Truth has never fit the mold. From day one, he's been a disruptor. A performer who could have carried titles, sold arenas, and redefined what a main eventer could be. But WWE chose to box him into comic relief. Not because he couldn't be serious, but because they thought that was safer, less risky, more manageable. And yet, every time they tried to keep him light, he delivered heavy crowd reaction, heavy emotion, heavy presence. And when you give the crowd something real in a sea of overly controlled characters, they will always respond. That's why this return worked. It wasn't about writing, it was about resonance. Backstage, production crews reportedly scrambled to adjust to his rising popularity. WWE started re-editing video packages to include him. Merch teams greenlit new R-Truth gear without a full storyline attached. That never happens. Usually there's a storyline roadmap. With Truth, there was no plan, just momentum. And that scared people. Because momentum you don't control can be dangerous. It can shift attention. It can challenge main eventers. It can outshine stars you're paying millions to keep in the spotlight. And that's exactly what began to happen. Truth started pulling more reaction than some of the company's protected stars. And when that happens, WWE takes notice, but not always in a good way. There were whispers of dialing him back, of limiting his time, of scripting his promos tighter. But those efforts didn't work. Every time WWE tried to control the moment, it died. And every time they let truth be truth, the audience came alive. So the company had to relent. And for once, a performer earned his place not because of corporate push, but in spite of it. And that's what made this story different from any other comeback. This wasn't nostalgia. This was reclamation. Truth wasn't asking for relevance, he was showing the world he never lost it. And he wasn't just doing it for himself. He was doing it for every underused name who's ever been told they're not marketable enough. The locker room began to rally around him. Newer stars started watching his promos closely. Not because they were polished, but because they were electric. You can't fake that. And week by week, WWE had no choice but to extend his role. What started as a cameo became a recurring spot. And yet, fans still want more. Because the hunger isn't satisfied with breadcrumbs. We want a real run, a title push, a redemption arc, a WrestleMania spotlight. Not because he needs it, but because he's earned it. And if WWE ignores that again, they're not just burying a talent, they're insulting the intelligence of their entire audience. This return proved something deeper about WWE storytelling. You can control scripts, you can edit camera angles, but you can't control what feels real, and truth is real. Every segment, every entrance, every misstep or surprise interaction, it feels unfiltered, unpredictable. That's what wrestling used to be. That's what it can be again, if WWE listens. The choice is now in their hands. Embrace what's happening organically, or smother it trying to force something else. The crowd has made its voice clear. Now we wait and see if the machine listens. And here's the part that makes this whole saga even more insane. R-Truth, despite all this momentum, still doesn't have a defined feud or a championship story. That's not just an oversight. That's a miscalculation. WWE has lightning in a bottle and is scared to break the bottle open. Every week they stall, every week they hesitate, is another week they risk losing the raw momentum that came with his return. If there was ever a time to take a chance, it's now. Not next month, not at the next pay-per-view. Right now. Before the spark, they didn't plan for turns into a flame they can't control. Because if Truth walks out next week and delivers again, and the crowd erupts again, and Twitter trends again, what excuse will WWE have left? And now, WWE stands at a crossroads, with R-Truth's momentum exploding like never before. Fans aren't just cheering, they're rallying behind him with a passion that can't be manufactured. Every crowd reaction, every viral clip, every comment across social platforms is echoing the same sentiment. Give R-Truth his due. This isn't nostalgia. This is real, raw demand. The reason this comeback hits so hard is because of everything WWE didn't do for him when they had the chance. Think about it. Truth was always there. Through brand changes, superstar shakeups, and regime shifts, he showed up, performed, and entertained. Never once complained, never chased the spotlight, he simply earned it. And now that spotlight is following him whether WWE planned it or not. WWE's creative team didn't forecast this resurgence. He wasn't in the headlines. He wasn't on the rumored list of pushes. And yet here he is, hijacking segments without even trying. It's that authenticity, that organic rise, that the WWE machine has never quite been able to engineer. That's what's making R-Truth dangerous, in the best way possible. Triple H and the higher-ups can't ignore the signals anymore. They might have slotted him as a comedic relief, someone to get the crowd laughing before a serious match. But now, the same man they once used to cool down the crowd is getting the loudest reactions of the night. That's not luck. That's legacy catching up. Wrestlers are even noticing. Backstage, there's a new respect in the air. You can sense it. The veterans nod. The newer talent look up to him. And some of the biggest names are starting to speak out publicly, tweeting, praising, reposting his clips. They know what's happening. They know that R-Truth has become the unshakable core of WWE's connection to its audience. In a business built on manufactured rivalries and scripted moments, Truth's story is hitting different because it's real. No angle, no gimmick, just a man who's put in the work, been overlooked, and came back swinging harder than ever. And while the crowd chants, WWE is being backed into a corner. They now face a choice. Do they acknowledge the groundswell of support and finally give Truth the serious run he deserves? Or do they let another golden opportunity slip away and face the backlash? Because the thing is, this isn't about a title belt anymore. It's about principle. It's about honoring someone who's carried the company through eras of change, through boom periods and rating slumps, through creative droughts and brand shakeups. And here's the twist WWE never saw coming. The fans aren't just cheering for Truth. They're calling out WWE's treatment of him. Every ovation is a protest. Every chant is a statement. The people have chosen. And if WWE doesn't act now, it'll be yet another mark on their long list of misjudgments. Let us know in the comments what you think WWE should do next.